The Heinrich Böll Foundation, as all German political foundations, concentrates mostly on organizing political dialogue. That means bringing decision makers, bringing civil society activists from different countries together, especially of course from Turkey and Germany. And we concentrate on three topics. A, because we're a green foundation, ecological and especially energy topics, very important for Turkey. B, democracy and human rights, where we pay a special attention to gender equality. And C is foreign policy and migration, where we're currently dealing mostly with Turkey's role in the region vis-à-vis Europe, but also vis-à-vis the Middle East, and there with a special focus, of course, on the refugee question. The situation is difficult in a sense that we've seen growing authoritarian tendencies in the government since a few years now, and especially since the failed coup of 2016, massive crackdown against oppositional voices from all kinds of the political spectrum. I think what we currently have in Turkey is a very unclear situation where you can be criminalized as a civil society activist, but it's not a given. Dealing with this uncertainty, I think, is currently the biggest concern of NGOs. No, I don't think it ever was. Sometime like 2015, 2016, it was the main point of contention, the main point of discussion among the two countries. But I mean, we know that migration or flight routes have changed and are now back in the Mediterranean. So Libya, Tunisia, Egypt are much more important. Given that Turkey is not, at least officially, taking in new people and has closed its border towards Syrians, this is only like a very small trickle compared to what we had in 2015. It is still an important part of the European-Turkey relationship, but it's not the major point. I think it's like the EU has maneuvered itself into a deadlock. A current situation where Turkey is steering further away from the EU, from European or from the Copenhagen criteria. EU doesn't really know how to deal with Turkey. What's clear is that Europe wants to keep this relationship going for two reasons. A, if it breaks, if the accession process stops, Europe does not want to give ammunition to Erdogan to basically use this as a blame game against Europe, so they want the Turks to end it by themselves. And B, there is of course the fear that Turkey would be either sliding more towards Russia, which I think is only halfway realistic, but B, more that Turkey would be like a more free-floating agent, not bound by any obligations. And I think that this is a bigger fear. And of course, C, I mean, there are concerns when it comes to security cooperation. Mostly we have all these returning jihadis from Syria and Iraq. And then B, of course, major economic concerns. We know that especially Germany and the Netherlands, but also other countries have invested heavily in Turkey.